Okay, hi guys. Welcome to our introductory webinar. Today we're right about to launch the new Angular course run, which is dedicated to and designed for the students who completed the stage 2 of the regular course one run. But don't worry, even though if you just want to know a bit more about Angular, or you just want to ensure you want to structure your knowledge or to gain something more, then you are welcome to our course. So today agenda is quite simple. We're going to review our course roadmap in terms of assignments, modules, and tasks you need to accomplish during the course. And at the very end, we'll have a little Q&A session where you can ask me anything that bothers you so that we could ensure that everyone is on the same page. So let's start one by one. Our first steps. Um, so your entry point most likely was the We Are community page, or if you're already familiar with the RESTful communication channels, regardless of each of that facts, I'll review uh, what are the first steps. So if you came from the We Are the community, there is a link to the Discord chat. So by clicking on that, you'll be redirected right to the invitation to our server where we held all the communications. Here is the announcement 2023 Q1 channel where we hold everything that needs to pay attention to. Would like not to miss everything that we post here. So that's you could be aware of everything that happens on the course. Okay. Or if you come from the stage 2, so most likely you already know about where we store all the materials, all the links. But first, let's ensure that you already joined the Discord server. In case, I will just post the link one more time to the chat, um, just in case if you haven't joined yet. Um, so that's we could ensure that you're already with us. Then the next step, ensure that you have registered to the course via the RS app platform. So I believe the majority are already familiar with that platform. But in any way, if you completely new to the process, uh, let's see what's the platform does. So first of all, that's our education platform that's help us to track the completeness of the assignments as well as the current schedule. To get started, perhaps we could do the following. So whenever I hit the link, first it will ask you to log in via GitHub, and then after successful authentication, you'll get back to the enrollment form where you provide every information regarding enrollment to the course, and then you'll start appearing in the score table. So here you can review your current score, position, as well as the current schedule, which maybe most of you has already noticed some of the changes ongoing here. But right now, I would say it's up to date. Yes. So uh, just one more time. First step, ensure that you're in Discord with us. And secondly, it's the most important, I think, ensure that you've enrolled to the RS app and you have access to the current course. In case if not, uh, I would like you to ping me after that webinar that you experienced some issues accessing the resources, and then we could get back to you uh, to help you resolve your problems. Great. So now you're with us. And then one more thing that we more usually use, it's our YouTube channel where all the recordings will be uploaded. So all the recordings will be posted to announcements as well. But in case if you just want directly to subscribe to our channel, just to have one more communication and notification channel. So most likely you want to subscribe to the RS School in English, where also the React course comes in parallel, but I believe that's okay. Uh, so just in case, we'll post the link to the announcements so that you will not miss it. So every recording will be posted here, and it will be duplicated with the links to the concrete videos right after we finish the webinar. Great. So now we have everything in terms of communication channels. So in terms of schedule, our first steps. So there are two ways how can you check it. So first, you can refer to the schedule right here. Um, where you can see the start and end date of each of the events. For instance, today we have our intro meeting where we're discussing our first steps, and then uh, we will go forward with other modules. So, and I already posted the link to our course roadmap, so you could check the GitHub page right here, which is available in two languages, just in case to pay your attention that our official language for communication is English. However, you can cooperate with each other on two of the languages, so we already have the dedicated channels to it. Um, so you're free to go. But here on our webinars, tasks, requirements, Q&A session, and as well as the workshop, we're going to use English for all of our webinars. Great. Um, so what else do we hear? So here, we can check the schedule both from the RS app and by visiting the GitHub, where you can also check the links to the materials you need to accomplish in a particular week. For instance, we start our week today. So on the current week, we're going to have the following things. First of all, we'd like to take a look at the three of the modules. By clicking on which, you'll get to the description page where you can see the links to the theory, as well as the practical assignments that needs to be accomplished within the current week. So what does it mean? It means that the form of education is self-study with pre-recorded lectures, but at any way, you can ask any questions at any moment if something is not quite clear for you. So our first steps will be right after we ensure that we're already enrolled in any of the platforms and communication channels, I would like to start with the modules that we already have on the GitHub. Or either you can click the link in the schedule and you'll jump into the same page on the GitHub. So I know that something could be different. You could notice some difference in RSApp and GitHub if you try to compare. possibly nobody is uh, well, let's see. No, everyone could make a mistakes. So in case if you notice some differences, I would like to ask to highlight any of them so that we could fix them right away. Great. So we start with the three modules and the task, which is the Angular intro. So here within the three modules, you're going to see how to get started with Angular, what the Angular is, with which the which building blocks are existing, um, and as well, you could also see how to start working with the basic building blocks using Angular, and then you're going to accomplish your first home assignment, which is Angular intro. Uh, if we get to it, so actually, what we're going to achieve. As you might be noticed from our schedule, we will have practical assignments each week. So the concept is the following. So we're going to have the task each week where we're going to implement one single application step by step. For us, we're still keeping the YouTube client, and in the future, maybe we'll replace it with something else. But yeah, for now, we're keeping as is. So our goal will be to implement one single application. Each week, you will learn something new about the building blocks that are used in Angular, and then you will apply the given knowledge to accomplish the part of our home task. So your first home assignments, apart from completing three modules, by completing I mean that you reviewed everything in terms of materials. Um, so our first assignments will be the following. So this is the Angular intro. That's nothing too complex. That's just an intro to the application that we are going to implement. So you could refer to the Figma mockup to see how the application will look like. So this is some sort of the front end of the YouTube client where we are going to fetch the videos to see the description. So nothing extraordinary here. So for now, we're going to achieve something like the following. So for the current week, this is just for your reference to what we're going to achieve. And the intro task is quite simple to my mind. Here you are going to set up your project on Angular, set up the LinkedIn rules, and the basic project structure. So you will not need to implement anything in terms of logic. All you need is to have the project structure, all the components generated, so that you could proceed later on. So you just need to create all the necessary empty components as well as the models that you're going to work with. By models, I mean the TypeScript interfaces or enums or anything that's needed to type our data. Great. So I believe you will already have the questions to our next steps, to our assignments. Let's see what else do we have in terms of our next steps. Um, so apart from the modules and home assignments, each week we're going to have the workshop. Let's agree just on the date. So um, we're going to have a workshop each Thursday. Um, uh, the purpose of it is to give you a practical, let's say, to have a practical session. let's say the current week, you're going to learn about Angular components as well as other building blocks, which are directives and pipes, right? So the intention of the workshop is to gather everything to give the practical view on the theory that you gain during the current week. And most likely we will also implement some other application parallel step using step-by-step approach. So I mean, we're going. So if I recall, not the last, not the latest course run, but a year ago, we were implementing the chat application by using WebSocket. So most likely they'll think on another ideas, but you can also propose me um, any other ideas of the application you might want to implement on our workshops. So any ideas will be welcome. Till Thursday, of course, because in any way I will not be able like to switch the topics. Um, so you can propose anything if you have something to share. That would be highly appreciated. So the workshops. Each Thursday, the workshop at 5 p.m. UTC. So I would like also to pay special attention to the time zone. I know that most of you are on different time zones. That's and that will be quite difficult to take into account all of them. So I'm using the UTC time zone. Uh, and I don't think it will be a great problem if you would convert the UTC time to your local time zone. But each Thursday if I'm not mistaken, it's 16th at 4 p.m. UTC, I'm going to conduct the workshop. So now I have 17 p.m. because it took into account my current time zone. But anyway, it should display for you fine. Or you'll have the additional announcements each time just to remind you that's, hey, today we're going to have the workshop or the task review or anything. We're waiting for you. So just one more time to emphasize that within the announcement channel, you can find anything that is related to reminders, to the course updates. So please do not miss anything that drops here. Um, okay, with workshop, I believe it's clear. So we're going just to have some practice with the topics that you accomplished recently. And then that's typically how the week look like. Apart from the modules for self-education, you'll also have the theoretical test that's for each topic that you need to pass. For example, the current week we accomplished components, directives, and pipes. We conducted the workshop and we accomplished the intro task before the given deadline. Uh, then the next week, right when we write about to start the new topics, uh, we need to accomplish the theoretical test. So how it will look like? Most likely, I will not able to show you right now, but in case if you're already familiar, nothing new. In case if not, so we will review next week since none of the tests are available right now due to the schedule restrictions. But whenever you need to pass the test that is planned for the next week, you're checking the auto test section. So whenever a test is available, you will see it within this section. And you need to pass the theoretical test right here. And I would also encourage you, so maybe I can also show you, let's see, from one of the courses. So perhaps I will not be able to show you any of the tests just because everything is finished. I don't know. Yeah, seems like I will not able to do so. But anyway, we'll get back to it just right the next week when we're going to have our first task review. Uh, Not sure whether I will be conducting the task reviews, so most likely that will be another person. But you could count on me to be with you every workshop. So in case if any other person will be conducting the task review, so you could ask him about passing the tests in case if you're not familiar with the process. For now, we could not focus on it. That's just for your information. So um, just one more time. Each week, we will have the theoretical modules with all the materials, links, then the workshop where we're going to cover all of these topics, plus to implement something from scratch. Then the home assignment uh, that lasts the entire week till the end of it. So, for example, our first task has the deadline, which is Sunday, the end of Sunday. It will be the deadline of the intro task. And the next task the same. It lasts from Monday to Sunday. So each week you'll have the home assignment. So then how we're going to complete such assignments. So for now, um, we'll wait till Wednesday, just in case to make sure that everyone who wants to join the course has already joined. And then we're going to start creating the private repositories for you. And you will need to accomplish all the tasks in the given private repository. You will receive additional announcements within the channel. So once we'll wait till Wednesday, we'll see how many people join, then we'll close the registration, and then we'll start granting you access to the private repositories. You'll receive the email notification where you can join it and then start writing the code and push your changes there. And another important thing is how your tasks are going to be evaluated by whom. So don't worry, you are not alone. We'll also wait for Wednesday, and then we're going to distribute you among all of the registered mentors. So definitely you will not be alone, and you'll have a person, your first contact point, who you can ask in case if you have any troubles, any questions, and the person who will evaluate your home tasks. And of course, you can ask the course organizers in case of any concerns, any questions. So please do not hesitate to reach us as well. So our plan for the current week to accomplish 3 modules, to start the home assignment, to come to workshop, obviously, and also wait for Wednesday for student matters distribution, as well as creation of the private repository. In case if it's quite problematic just to memorize everything we've been talking on that webinar, I will anyway leave this small meeting follow-up for you right after I upload the recording. So then you will receive the key information about our next steps. Okay, let's ensure that I haven't forgot something. Um, seems like no. Um, and also, yeah, pay attention to the schedule, to the deadlines, because in any way, if you fail to meet some of the deadlines, then unfortunately, either some penalties will be applied, or you won't be able to retake it at all. For instance, for the tests, you'll have to accomplish the test till the deadline, because they will know anyway, then you can pass it after the deadline. Simply, the test will be closed. Okay, that's what we have. That's how our regular week will look like. At the very end, if you might be noticed here, we will have also our final task. Previously, you might be noticed on We Are the Community agenda or here. So previously we have the project management tab. Right now we decided to replace it with something new. You'll have additional announcements on it, but I wouldn't rather focus on it right now. Uh, the schedule will be outdated anyway, and when it will be ready to announce, you will not miss it. Right after we accomplish all the main modules and we'll finalize our YouTube client application, we will start our final task, uh, which, if I'm not mistaken, will be uh, accomplished in groups. So you'll be united in several teams. You'll need to organize the teamwork, the collaboration. You'll need to set up and align the processes to accomplish the final task. Um, that's definitely will happen at the end. We're right about to prepare it. So that's just for your information. Um, okay. Not sure if I covered everything that needs you to know right now. So I believe we could start with your questions, and then I would recall if I missed something. So, um, okay. Um, you're free to not to unmute and ask me something, because we're moving right to the Q&A session. So right now, let me see what we have in the chat. Other as there is some differences before Russian. So, are there any differences between Russian and English lectures? So actually, there are no any differences between the two versions except the language. You can easily choose one of the preferable. Either it will be English or Russian. Um, but just to emphasize that we conduct all the webinars in English. So that's our official way to communicate. But of course, you can choose one of the preferable ones for you. There are no any significant differences. There is only one Angular course. No, all the lectures will be in English as an entire course. Is that what you're asking about? Okay, let's see. When tasks will be available. So it's already available for you. So you can see the YouTube client app intro task. So it's not too-way complex. It's just for setting up the project structure. And please do not be confused, because I see that whenever you navigate, let's see, to the components module, here there is the link to the new assignment. But if we took our schedule, uh, our next assignments will happen the next week. So don't worry. but the task's already available. So you could find it either by visiting the GitHub. So here you click Angular intro, then the practical assignment, or by other finding it from the Eros app. You can find it from the schedule section by just clicking the task name, or another way you can do it from the score table by clicking the task, and then here we go. So here is the task requirements for you, as well as you can check the deadline from here for both ways, actually three of them. Okay, so the workshop will be sometime every Thursday. It will be every Thursday. Every week we're going to have the workshop, except the final weeks where you will be having the final task. So the intention of the workshop is to cover the topics that you've just learned the current week. So this week we are going to cover components, directive, and pipes. The next week routine. At the end of week 3, we're going to cover another topics and so on and so forth. So whenever you'll start the final one, there will no any workshops. But for the rest weeks, we're going to have it every Thursday. Can we use our private repositories? Unfortunately, no. You can use it maybe now, but I would rather encourage you to wait until Wednesday, where we're going to finalize the mentor-student distribution, as well as granting you access to your school private repository. It will be the new one. In case if you came here from the stage 2, so the repository will be quite different. When will the mentors be distributed? Well, let's wait the Wednesday. Could you please share the link to the schedule? The link is in the Discord. Write the first message. Here is our course map. What about Git branching? There were some questions about it. The Git branching will be the same as the previous runs. In case if you're from the stage 2, there shouldn't be any problems. However, if you are new to the entire process, so if I'm not mistaken, submission of the task. So if I'm not mistaken, oh, by the way, that's another link to share with you. So that's another thing to emphasize. And this one. Okay, here is documentation pages. I know that there could be quite different, but what cares is the following page. So I'll not have all the types of the tasks because the process is quite unified for any of the courses conducted under the RS school, but at least here you can find some of the data regarding how we're going to submit the tasks. And then if you pay attention to the pull request review process, here is how we're going, what do we need to do in order to submit our task. So the task counts as submitted when you raise the pull request from the task branch to your main one, as well as submitting the task from the RS app. Not sure I can show you how it will look like, since I have no such permissions as you. Um, but submission to the RS app is needed. Um, is needed for the following purpose. So whenever a mentor will access his dashboard, he will see all the links to the task submitted. Uh, in case if you will not do so, that's not a problem. He will simply find your pull request on GitHub. The branching is quite the following. So your private repository should, your main branch should be empty in the process of review. Then whenever you accomplish a new task, you do it in a separate branch. Then you create a pull request from the task branch to the main one and wait for the mentor's review. Then, whenever his review is finished and uh, uh, the assignment has already evaluated, uh, you are free to merge the changes to the main one. So here is some extra info for you, but I hope you got the idea. So you do every task in separate branches, and to submit it, you raise the pull request and submit it via the RS app. So I hope that's clear. How many mentors have registered for the course? So perhaps that's not the information to be disclosed. Could you please also share the link to the Git repo already? Oh, yeah, thanks a lot. What do I need to do to get a mentor? Just wait. It will be done automatically. Can I choose my preferred teammates for the final task? So, since we're not quite familiar with the team's distribution that's existing right now, last time we tried several ways. How can we do that? Let's leave that topic for later discussion. That's perhaps not our focus for now, but if I'm not mistaken, um, if we'll use the built-in team distribution, there should be any preferences. We should have possibility to provide the preferences, but I cannot guarantee it. But that would be great. Can I complete the course and get a certificate if I didn't go to JS frontend course? Yes, exactly. So you shouldn't complete. Well, that's not. Uh, let's say it's not a criteria to complete the course. To gain the certificate at the end for the Angular course, you should obviously complete the Angular course. And it doesn't really matter whether you completed the previous ones. So we do take care of the current course. Just wait or submit parent dashboard. I would prefer to do both ways to submit your task. Raising PR is an essential because it's the only way a mentor could check whether you met the deadline. The second way, submitting it via dashboard, is just making the life for your mentor easier so that he shouldn't look for your pull request across the GitHub. He will simply click on his dashboard. He will find your assignment, and then he's going to evaluate it. So the necessary, submitting the PR is necessary, and submitting to the dashboard is highly recommended. Okay, guys, please highlight in case if something is not clear for you. Maybe I missed something. So let's discuss now. You can also unmute and speak with me. Just do not hesitate to do so, or either writing in the chat. So in both ways, please welcome. I will wait for your questions. Can I do tasks alone? So the if you're speaking about the final task, there is no any options in case if it will be designed to be completed within the teams. Uh, so there is no any way you can do it alone. But the other assignments are designed to accomplish them individually. Okay, is there any other things? Intro task I need to submit or is auto test? So the intro task you need to submit it. It's not the auto, that task is not designed for auto testing. It's for manual checking by your mentors. Will workshops be recorded? Definitely. Everything, every webinar will be recorded and uploaded to the YouTube. Can you ask questions about intro task? Yeah, sure, go ahead. So that we could ensure that we're on the same page. Could you specify about repositories? I already have my Angular Q1 repository. I'm after stage 2. So in case if your repository is something like Angular 2023 Q1, then you could go ahead with it. In case you've already registered and you gain the access to the private repository. In case if you already has it, then yeah, you're welcome to proceed with that one. Okay, what we have. Can you explain more about start structure of our task app? The project structure is already described in the task requirements. So if we took a closer look at it, here, what we need to do. Here is our main page. Then we need to think on how we're going to distribute the page among components. For sure, I would rather recommend first to take a look at the theoretical modules just right before you will start looking at the assignment. Then here we need to think on how we're going to break down the entire page into the smaller pieces, and then using ngCli we need to create each of the components and just simply generate all of them by using ngCli. And that's actually it. So I don't think it's super complex.
But sorry, we already has a structure in this task.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to add something there, or what? Is there search results, for example, a search item? Is it components or is it just directories?
So it's the so this is the directory with components, because
Ah,
Angular components consist of at least 4 files: the
yeah.
template, styles, unit tests, and the component class.
Yeah, I understand. I just wonder the search item. Is it already a component search item with this four files, or we
This
need
is
to
the
add some components into directory search item?
okay, so whenever you use ngCli to generate a component, it will create the directory with all these four files.
Yeah,
So the structure presented here represents the directory which consists of four files.
yeah, and it's enough. Yeah, in
Yes,
this
yes,
structure.
that's
So,
enough.
so I mean, my question is, you said that we need to analyze the page and understand the structure, but we already got some.
So the goal is not to understand the project structure, but the goal is to think on how can we break down the page into smaller pieces. For example, header consists of several components inside, as well the search results can consist of some inner components. So that's something that's need to be think on it. So we given the structure, the project, the our initial project structure, and then you will need to think on the components you need to create, how to break down into the smaller pieces. Did you get the idea? I hope yes.
Yeah.
In case if not, yeah, please let us know.
Hello, may I ask just out of interest, sorry if you already answered, will you mentor this course by yourself and have your own students?
Uh, Perhaps didn't get you. Could you please repeat one more time?
Too quick. Will you mentor this course by yourself and have your own students?
Uh, yeah, everyone will not be alone, so don't worry. So we have enough mentors for everyone in case if
But
not, so
but
it will
you,
be handled. And me,
you,
well, not really. I'm not like
Mm,
I will not
yeah,
going to mentor anyone within the course,
but you did.
but at least we'll meet once a week at least on our workshop. So, well, welcome everyone. Every Thursday at at 4 p.m. UTC, I will welcome you to the workshop session, which will be conducted by me, and the purpose is not only about writing something using the recent topics. It also a sort of opportunity to ask me any of the questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see from the chat what we have as well. Not task available for submission now. It's submission for the cross check. So the tasks are not going to be checked by the means of cross check. All of them will be checked by a mentor. I'm sorry, really sorry. Um, uh, all of this I'm going to check by mentors. So this is not like about submission for the cross check. There should be another button for submission of the task. Uh, in the first task, we'll just need to create structure with design or something with API calls and search. There shouldn't be any logic, any layout. The goal is to create the project structure, to create the base components. You shouldn't implement any of the layout or logic. You simply need to generate the components using ngCli and create the TypeScript interfaces or models or any other stuff that needs to represent your data. That's everything you need. You don't need to implement any logical markup. It's possible to get the mentor if you're not from stage 2. Well, the mentor will be for everyone, regardless you are new or you came from the stage 2, it doesn't really matter. Uh, a header footer needs to be with header component and generate component. Yeah, something like that. This task needs to deploy using Git or another. So, well, actually, we don't have such requirements for deployment of the app. So that's not necessary. However, if you want to do so, then you will need to build your application. So whenever you work with it, you simply, by using one command, you run the Angular application. In case if you want to build it for the production to be deployed, let's say on GitHub pages or any other platform, you might want to use the build command, which will generate something. So that's my working project. So it will generate something like the following: the set of JS's and the index HTML as an entry point. So if you want to generate such bundle, you may likely want to use ng-build, or whenever you work with ng-CLI and generate the project. So possibly my working one is not the perfect example, but let's see. We have something, for instance, that's one. If we look at the package JSON, yeah, it's simply just ng-build command, which will create the dist folder with all the necessary files you need to upload to the GitHub pages or any other platform to deploy it. However, it's optional. It's up to you. There is no any requirements that you will have. You must deploy. So that's up to you. Okay, what else do we have? Could you please share any source on migrating Angular project with ESLint Airbnb? So that topic is not quite Angular specific. So that's about configuring ESLint for any kind of project, regardless of the technologies used. So I believe that would be easy to accommodate. Should we use ng-serve or ng-build to activate the project? So uh, you want to use ng-serve in case if you want to run the project locally to see how it works, to debug, and whenever you want to deploy it somewhere, then you use ng-build. Okay, are there any other topics you want to highlight? So please do not hesitate to speak. I encourage you that you ask as many questions as you can.
Hi, Pavel.
Hey,
Sorry. Yeah, want to ask a question. I'm checking the scoreboard and cannot find myself, despite I'm registered at GitHub and at the school and everywhere. Is it some kind of problem or?
so have you registered to the particular course by using the link?
Sure. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So let's see. Let's do the following. If you experience any troubles by accessing the resources, including the REST app scoreboard, as well as the Discord or any kind of, so I would encourage you to ping me so that we could take a look closer. So possibly, whenever you registered for the course, the scoreboard is not updated immediately. So that's one of the possible.
Okay.
Or you can just help me to provide your GitHub username so that we could check whether you are in.
Probably we should just wait for like some time.
We can check it
later,
right
yeah.
now within another section.
Karim,
that's
I can
available
see
for
you
this.
in the score.
Ah, really? Oh,
Yeah.
probably I cannot see myself, but can see everyone else. Okay,
You
that's
should see
interesting.
yourself in the scoreboard. Okay.
No, I cannot.
Well, that's kind of interesting. So let's see.
Probably you can check if you see it yet.
I can send you picture somewhere.
Ah,
I
here it
know.
is. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so it's probably like some bug temporarily. Okay, thank you. I'm there. That's fine.
Yep.
Thanks.
But anyway, if still you encounter some issues, so please let us know accordingly. Well, I hope so much I haven't missed anything for today. In any way, if you see that something is not completely clear for you, I encourage you to do the following: to ask questions either directly to me by using the DM or by writing your question in one of the channels. But I would also encourage you to tag me, because everyone has a busy workload, so that's not a secret. And I unfortunately I have no capabilities to check everything constantly. But if you want to ensure that you if you want to address the question directly to me or to any other organizer, I would encourage you to tag us by using name or using the DM, the private messages. So that I will get to your query back shortly, and we'll try to resolve and to answer your question. So I would encounter one more time. If something is not clear, please do not keep the silence. So please.
Sorry, can I have one more couple of stupid questions about still about the intro task?
There are no stupid questions.
Just wait for it. I mean, one more time. We already have a structure in the task up, header, search, but we need to make smaller components than we should add into app. Or and how small these companies should be. So maybe you can give a hint how we need to decide how small it could be. Should it be the only buttons, or it could be bigger, like we can divide header for the, for example, input interface, filter interface?
Okay, let's see. First of all, the components shouldn't be too small, because that doesn't really make sense. What I can propose is, for instance, if you see that some of the elements will be reused somewhere else, for instance, the button with the same style, but yeah, honestly, that could be achieved by using CSS. So you start implementing a particular page, for example, right? First, you start doing your markup as a single component, right? Then you start thinking on how can we logically split up the page and break down into components. For example, here, I see that this page could be divided into the list component and the card component. That's a small hint for you. That's, I would say that's the same approach how you're organizing the code. If you want your code to be readable and maintainable as much as it possible, you're breaking down your logic, your JS code or test code into smaller pieces, into sequence of functions, for example. The same, the same approach could be applied just here. So whenever you start making the markup, whenever you see that it's quite hard to read, then you are thinking on, okay, so possibly I can group elements by somehow, and the component is the ideal way on how can you group the set of the elements by using the logical name. For example, you might want to see the search result card as a separate component because it's logical.
Yeah.
And
And we
whenever,
all
yeah, please go ahead.
and we already have it. So I mean, so I a little bit puzzled because in the search results we already have a component search item that could include every single piece of HTML data. Then we can reuse in all the page. So I just don't understand why should we divide it more, because we already have a small piece of data.
So by small piece of data, you mean the search result
The
item.
whole card. Yeah, the whole card.
So that's one component, and I would propose to stop here because there is no any need to divide further. There
Yeah,
is,
but we already have it's in a structure in a task.
okay, let's see, and
Search
where
item.
and where do you
The
see it
search.
here?
I guess it's a search item.
Oh, well, here in this particular case, search item represents the search card. And search results is the list. So I would maybe encourage you first to pay attention to the lecture recording, because if I'm not mistaken, I already emphasize the structure, like whenever you have a component for the entire list and a component for the particular item, and how you can organize the communication between the list component and the item one. So most likely that could help you a bit. So here, search item represents the search card, and search results is the entire list that consists of all of these cards. But by the way, you that's not needed to follow all of the namings. You can create your own. The what really matters and is that you created empty components for everything that is presented on the main page. And this project structure is not the task requirement, is a small, like, that's the reference for you how it could be organized. So most likely you also want to have the understanding of the best practices of project structure. So perhaps you found some other ideas. How can you organize it? And you're free to use it. So you shouldn't, well, let's say that sticking to the exactly provided component structure is not a must. That's just for your reference. What really matters is that you created all the components and TypeScript models.
Mhm. And also, we shouldn't create a markup and logic, just the
Yeah,
structure of
it's
the project.
for now it's out of scope. We're
Okay.
just creating the structure.
But should we delete the template, the basic template, when you create
Uh,
a project?
no, let's keep it because
Okay.
it's linked with your component.
Okay.
So you can just keep all the files that's in GCLI generated because
Okay.
you will definitely will need them in the future task.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. Checking to the dashboard. I see that hasn't been created yet. Should click on the button to create it. So is that button represents creation? Aha, the repository. Yeah, you can click it, I believe. Uh, because right now we're not targeting to make any distribution and repository creation, just because someone could join us a couple of days later on. So that's why we're waiting for Wednesday to ensure that everyone who wants to participate within the course already enrolled us, and then we will make the final preparation.
Well, can I ask you something?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I didn't get some details about mentors. For example, this task looks pretty easy. I think so because at first. Can you define me some kind of steps? For example, when I finish my task, I will push my changes to the special branch. Okay. How do I communicate with mentor? For example, if he finds some issues, if he leaves some comments, should I fix it? Can I have some time for fix it, or I have just one try? That's my question.
Okay, so whenever you raise the PR, the pull request, a mentor could leave some comments for you. That's not the issue. That's the recommendation for you. We know that it would be insane if you will raise for fixing every issue that's the mentor give for you, any comments, sorry, and accomplishing another assignment. So whenever mentor leaves your comment, that's not call to action because your task more likely is already evaluated. But you can communicate with your future mentor. Is it like necessary to fix all the comments as soon as you receive it? And for how long you'll be given the time to fix all of them. The idea is the pull request comment is the recommendation for you. So that's not highlighting the issue, that's recommendation. That's hint for you how to avoid the same mistakes in the future. So, and taking into account that some of the mentors will not be able to check the task immediately, so that's most likely you'll receive the comments later on, right after you are in the middle process of completing another assignment. So that's just recommendation for you. There is no need to rush to fix all of the comments. Just take it into account and try not to make the same mistakes in the future. So I hope I answered your question.
I see. Thank you. I think I get it. Do you mean that I can communicate with mentor only in comments in GitHub page?
Why so? You can pick him in private. So whenever we distribute among the mentors, so that would be great if you reach him in private to see yourself. Hey, you've been assigned by my mentor. Nice to meet you, and then to continue your communication. There is like, you can reach him by any means. That's I don't think personally I don't think having communication in GitHub comments it's a good choice, just because your message could be easily missed.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure. Okay, is there anything else? Well, in that case, I would take silence as there are no any other topics he wants me to ask. In any way, in so do we have a lecture now? No, that will be it for today. I know why you're confused, because in the schedule for some reason it's been named as the course intro and TypeScript and Angular basics. I don't know why, because well, I'm not lying. That's because it's named like the following, and I'm not able to change the name at all. I don't know why. Uh, Nevertheless, that will be it for today. Whenever we finished with the intro webinar, and you can get the the intro from the course roadmap. So here, our first week, and here is the link to the recording of the TypeScript and Angular intro. So you could refer to the lecture recording, but for today's, that would be it. Okay, if there is nothing else to discuss, I will upload the recording and send a short follow-up with further steps. We'll try to do it shortly. Not sure I can do it today, maybe tomorrow at the most. So if I missed something or something is not clear for you, just please do not be silent to is one more time I encourage you to ask me anything. Other fines, penalty points for submitting task after deadline. So usually yes. So whenever you miss the deadline and a bit late with task submission, so you could refer to the documentation and here are the deadlines or didn't. And the criteria saying the following. So depending on how many days you're late with the deadline, the fine could be the following. Of course, you can communicate with your mentor. Let's say you have a good reason for missing the deadline, the doctor appointment, illness, or any other circumstances that prevents you from submitting the task in time. You could communicate with your mentor to agree on not having a penalty for the missing deadline. So you could agree with him to ask to prolong the deadline. So please do not be silent and try to communicate with your mentor. If I am unable to visit the session on a particular Monday, how soon there will be recording available? So in that particular case, I will try to upload it as soon as it will be ready. Yes, and because I also need to prepare a small follow-up. So I will try to, for any of the sessions, we will try to upload the recording the same day, just not to take too much time of it. So this recording will be available today. And for the rest ones, we'll try to keep the same. Okay then. Are we good to close it, or are there any other topics? Okay then, if there is nothing else to discuss, thank you so much for your attention, and we'll see you next time.
See you. Bye.